Okay, I'm just playing with this interface here a sec.
I still have my penis from that one time my shirt cocked.
I have some dirty underwear.
You have your penis?
I still have it.
Only half of it. I've seen it.
Sorry. Hey, we're on the playa. It's fine, right?
Hi, how you doing?
Excellent. So glad you're here.
I just decided to pop in.
All right. Go.
All right, everybody. Hello there, and welcome to the 5 p.m. time block of the BurnerSphere Film Festival.
Woo-hoo!
I am Justin, or as many of you know me in here and on the playa, I go by just Justin. Funny story for another time. And I will be your moderator for this session. So welcome to BurnerSphere. Whether you've been with us all weekend or you're just arriving, we are really glad that you guys are here. So just a quick show of hands from who's here. Is anybody new to BurnerSphere? I don't think so. I think I've seen most of you before. Somebody doesn't have hands, so he can't raise his hands. Right. Well, we're going to go through this anyway, so folks watching at home can get a feel for when they do log in, what they should be aware of. So welcome home. A little pro tip before we head in. Send a few friend requests to anybody that you don't already have around you right now and connect with the people around you. That way, if you get bumped out or you need to re-enter, you can open your friend browser, which is on your wrist, and you can jump directly back to us, and it makes everything a little more seamless. For the best viewing experience, you can also adjust your audio. So if you open up your audio settings, the little gear on your hands there, click on audio, you can adjust the ambient volume to turn the film sound up or down to your liking. And I also want to give a big thank you to Carlos Austin, who was running our YouTube stream and the cameras and bringing all this. Hey, Carlos. Hello to everybody out there watching YouTube. We're so glad you're with us. And thanks to Laura, who was moderating our Zoom stream. And hello to everyone joining us on Zoom. We're excited to have this super duper cross-platform uber meta experience and experiment. And it's been going great all weekend. So thanks to the team that's making it happen. Of course, deep gratitude to all of our campmates. Now, being a campmate means that you're actively supporting this world, this platform, and this community. Camp dues help cover servers development, programming, and gatherings just like this one. They are what makes it possible for us to host events that are free and accessible to everyone. So if you've been enjoying this experience and want to help sustain it, we invite you to join us as campmates and contribute. And being a campmate, by the way, unlocks all of the worlds on BurnerSphere, not just the handful of awesome sample worlds that you can explore. So you can literally spend days and days and days in here exploring all the new stuff, and there's new stuff popping in all the time. Okay, here's how this evening will flow. We're going to head into the film festival portal behind me together to screen Mutants of Black Rock from Profiles in Dust. After the film, we'll return for a live Q&A with producer Terry Pratt, Noelle Charles of the Narwhal Art Car, and Chef Juke, the director of the DMV, which, if you're unfamiliar, is Burning Man's Department of Mutant Vehicles. Then we will move into our second film, Moments, Loose and Knox, Art in Motion. And we're thrilled to welcome back filmmakers Mona Wu and Neo Wang for another live conversation following that screening. So we got 2 films, 2 conversations, 1 big, beautiful burner community. All right, let's gather up and head into the portal, folks.
Sweet. Yes. Yes. I totally photobombed Justin, but it's okay. And it was funny for me.
And Carlos, you'll let me know when we're ready to roll the tape.
Roll tape.
The old days. Are we ready? Excellent. All right, everybody, let's go ahead and kick this off. Our first film this evening is Mutants of Black Rock from Profiles in Dust. Now, if you ever stood on the open playa at night and felt the ground rumble before you saw the lights, you already know the magic we're about to step into. This film captures the wild, mechanical creativity of mutant vehicles as they roll into Black Rock City. Giant creatures on wheels, fire-breathing contraptions, mobile works of art that transform the desert into a moving dreamscape. 2 years in the making, this documentary celebrates the builders, the engineers, the dreamers, and the crews that bring these machines to life. It's about imagination, collaboration, and the sheer audacity of saying, hell yeah, let's build that. So after the screening, we will be joined live for a Q&A with producer Terry Pratt, Noelle Charles of the Narwhal Art Car, which you will see, and Chef Juke, the director of the DMV. So strap in, the engines are revving. Let's all enjoy Mutants of Black Rock.
Back then it was called art cars.
Art cars. Art cars. Art cars.
People would drive around all sorts of crap, you know what I mean? But we decided to go big on it.
Gotta go big, you know? It's gotta roll.
We knew we wanted to build a car.
They're a pain in the ass.
Of the earth, it is unexplainable, unbelievable.
Don't go out there.
Mutated mutants from another world. There is no place left to run. Emerging from the Black Rock Desert. Mutants of Black Rock.
You know, they're a real pain in the ass.
They're really cool.
The final phase of an accident of nature. The fire-breathing octopus. It is unexplainable. Creatures born from your very imagination. Unbelievable. Creatures from the sky. Creatures of the sea. The majestic narwhal. The mighty Mayan warrior. Creatures born from your very imagination. Uncontrollable. Mutants of Black Rock City.
It's been a labor of love.
Hell yeah! Art on wheels. The mobility of an art car is something that stands out from almost all festivals.
We decided to build a whale, and at the same time, my friends were going to build La Contessa. La Contessa was about 55 feet, and the whale was 75 feet. And we built them so that it would be like Moby Dick. We'd come out of this cloud of dust, right? And there'd be the whale, and the La Contessa was chasing it, you know?
David Best had his buses out there.
All my cars have been a collaboration. I think I've done 40 cars. Always the inspiration is desperation. My inspiration is to making a car that can get up to Burning Man.
On the way down, there was people waiting in these little towns because they were calling ahead and say, hey, this massive shark's coming down the road, you know? So people were waiting, you know, in lawn chairs with cameras.
I took a stretch limousine because we were going to do it as a whale watching tours, you know? We were going to tell people whale watching tours. We had whale watching and, you know, and then he came with the shark. It was classic.
First time we came across the Esplanade, heading out into the middle of the playa, there was like 50 hippies chasing the car right now, you know, because there was no big cars out here. The three of us, you know, between the boat and the whale and the shark.
That was basically the very first, like, good-size art cars.
Draco the Dragon.
Draco was funny. They built it out of hay carts out there at the ranch. One year we built a buffalo and put propane tanks on it, and then we had a buffalo hunt. Those were good years.
Wonder grips a city as a mutant strikes again. And again. Out of sand swims the man-eating shark.
When we got to the desert out here, as soon as we got down on the playa, we put the fins on. When we got up to the box office, I guess, you know, I just had my ticket. Oh, yeah, shark. And they announced the radio, there's a huge shark at the gate.
So I don't think we registered it at all, yeah.
When Burning Man first started out here in the desert in 1990, they didn't have a DMV, they didn't have any rules about driving. Basically, people could drive where they wanted.
We thought it was anything goes.
Free radical art party.
Yeah, you know, and we realized, no, there are some rules.
As the event grew, it became pretty obvious that having many people driving around along with all of the bicycles and pedestrians became a safety issue.
Back then it was called art cars. They didn't change it to Mutant Vehicles till after the Shark.
And we created the Department of Mutant Vehicles to differentiate it from the default world Department of Motor Vehicles.
Never turn your back on a mutant vehicle.
The craziest thing I've seen at Burning Man yet.
It's open season for mutants. You don't find them, they find you.
We're dealing with some kind of giant sea creature. The octopus that shoots fire. I'm a ginormous octopus. Just like roaming around, it's got like fire.
Mutants born from your very imagination. They just might entice you. They just might excite you. Mutants of Black Rock.
The commitment to building an art car is amazing.
I tried building one other art car, like a mutant vehicle, but it was denied because it wasn't mutated enough.
Basically, they told me, all this is a monkey head on a car. This is not mutated enough, don't ever bring it back.
Then I got a little more serious and built a diner.
You know, I was thinking, yeah, I'm gonna knock this thing out in 6 months, and it ends up being, 2.5 years.
Next year we came back, we covered it with plastic bags, brought it in, I was like, this is gonna be great. They're like, that's moopy, don't ever bring it back.
There's two different aspects that we look at mutant vehicles for. In the day is, how mutated is it? Does it look different? Is it interesting? Does it look different than a standard vehicle?
So I went back to the drawing board. This is Chim Chim 6.0.
So that's for a day license. At night, since you may not be able to see the same factors of the vehicle, either you need to be lighting a very well mutated vehicle so we can see it, or the lighting itself needs to be interesting and what we call radically illuminated.
So it's all been little tweaks. We added fire. This year we upgraded LED lighting so you can see us from a long ways away.
We got the license for day, and then the next day we dialed in the lights and got the license for the night.
Sometimes people come to us and say, oh, you have to have $1 million to make a mutant vehicle that the DMV will invite. And the opposite is actually true. Most of the vehicles that we invite are the size of a golf cart or smaller.
We were so excited when we got our day pass, and then we got our night pass. I mean, right there, it was like the biggest hugs in the world for each other. Yes, this is a success at this point.
Every year we're trying to improve. We're trying to one-up the DMV, so at some point in time they'll say, you get to go, you're not conditional, and that's my goal.
This wonderful vessel was made for the opera, Ark of the Nereids, was made by Pepe, a Renaissance man, and he fabricated this out of metal because he was an excellent welder.
He was a maniac at welding. It was built well, Pepe was a perfectionist.
Most art cars are made to be mobile and move. The Narwhal in particular was made to be a stage. It does need to be pulled, it's very unique, it's a trailer.
A beat trailer, so it's got the center dump. That's what we were looking for when we built it, because you can get down inside the Narwhal.
The surface of it was covered with chicken wire and canvas and muslin, and it looked like scales.
It's got polymers in it. We soaked it in sheets, and then that's what the siding wall is that stuff there. That's where you can see the chicken wire coming through that.
So it's important to do some maintenance on it every year, really putting thick paint on and then keeping up on the paint.
There's something fun about chopping a car up,
My buddy came up with this Cadillac. It was an ex-pimp's Cadillac, 86 sedan DeVille. I put it together up in Washington and brought it down. So Vortec 350. It's in 1997 crate motor with a heavy-duty turbo 400. And then we just ran a one-wire alternator and a V-belt, so make it real simple in case we have issues. It took me about 3 months to build it. I barely got it done in time. Quite the adventure, for sure. Lift now. Everything else kind of fails out here as far as plastic and cloth, wood.
He's like, I'm going to make it aluminum. And I think about 15,000 rivets later, maybe.
50 to 100 1/8-inch drill bits, 3 or 4 air rivers I burned out.
And the thing is still running and solid 20 years later, which blows my mind.
The narwhal had its 20th birthday. It's had so many lives. It's like a cat with 9 lives. But, you know, I don't know how many lives narwhals have.
I pity him sometimes. He's so alone. The only one of his kind in the world.
Everything that ever walked or crawled on the face of the earth swum the depths of the ocean.
I've never seen anything quite like it.
I don't know. Freaks of any kind give me the willies.
You make it sound so creepy.
Beware the ferocious cupcakes.
Cutest things you ever saw.
Hey, they're keeping you busy these days.
It's the desert. Gives people wonderful ideas.
There's 2 kinds of art cars. There's small and there's big.
We decided to go big on it.
We got to go big, you know. I mean, that's what it's all about.
Big ones take on lots of people and they're a service.
When you have a small car, it's easier to deal with, easier to load on a trailer, just way less stress on you. The big ones can be very stressful, but they can also be very fun, too.
In the early days, I'd have 40 people on one of my cars.
I think we've had 50, 60 people on here, like the night of the man burn.
I think one car we actually counted 60 people. That's a lot of people on an old Cadillac, you know.
So I'm Mr. Mojo, and I built the Purple Palace to bring out to Burning Man 2005, and then I made it even larger in 2006. And at that point, I was easily the largest art car on the planet for the next 8 years as I drove it out here. It's 110 feet long, over 40 feet tall at the top of its flagpoles, and it weighs 65 to 75,000 pounds. One of the interesting things about driving a very large art car, somewhere between 100 to 200 people on board any given time, people bouncing. 100 people start bouncing at the same time. The entire suspension wants to just break. The tires want to pop. You deal with a lot of mechanical issues at that point.
You know, the art car was free. You know, in the old days, you know, I mean, now there's some people spending $500,000 on an art car.
It's a very magical culture, the Mayans. And warrior is a warrior of consciousness.
We're reviving the tribes, the cultural tribes that we Choles, the Aztecs, and we mix it with technology. Architects, designers, mechanics, robotics, propane, lasers, welding, electronics, LED, lighting. We're a staff of 20 people. Everyone in its discipline is like contributing to make this happen.
It's the big ones that really take a lot of people and the small ones that actually can make a big difference.
Mutants come in all sizes.
When I saw your car, never saw anything like it.
I love to see what somebody just did in their backyard or in their garage.
Traveling via tuk-tuk in India is a life-altering, death-defying act of pure joy.
He's used the English wheel and it created the veins of the elephant's ears, and then this curve right here gives it structure.
Everything reflects, so everything around it is part of it. These are vintage rhinestones from the 30s through the 70s.
It's kind of the perfect size for the playa because it's easy to get around. People know to get out of the way of art cars, but you're actually among bicyclists and pedestrians. It's super easy to get close to the artwork, which is super cool.
Yeah, you're just like down there with people instead of up there in one of the big art cars.
The Wonder Wagon, iconic stagecoach from youth, wonder ponies that we all rode in the 60s and 70s. Amazing what people are doing. I think there's still always a place for the old school, the iconic vehicles. Something special about it.
I love it when I see a small group of friends get together, and whether it's a golf cart or in one case they wanted to do something with their grandmother's old car, she had passed away, and they made a beautiful peacock. And it was really a labor of love. Small vehicle, some friends, they didn't know what they were doing when they started, and they came up with a great mutant vehicle to share.
If you asked 100 people who make different art cars why they made their art car, you would get 100 different reasons.
I'm fascinated with helixes because we're actually traveling in a helix through space.
You know, this buddy of mine said, hey, I can build this TV. We'll have a TV show. And it really works out well. It's actually really fun.
You know, it's an easy-go golf cart, gas-powered. I used to quad because it's got a shaft drive and reverse.
I mean, trying to come up with ideas all the time. You know, the diner look is hand-rolled on aluminum. I used to have fog machines.
I think everybody's expecting me to make a rocket car for Burning Man this year. And this is definitely not a rocket car.
Art cars are dedication, no matter what size. But when they break down, you are alone. You are alone. It is so lonely.
If you're gonna bring a car out here, better be prepared to work on it.
If you're thinking about building an art car, don't do a junker.
This year we have an art car in the think camp. It's very difficult because we over the ocean, another side of the earth.
It snows out here, it rains out here.
A lot of materials out here, they just don't hold up. You can see the neon here that's blistering from the sun. Plastic, wood, rubber. You got to pick a good material that's going to hold up. And metal's long-lasting. The playa dust got stuck in one of the fins on the back, sandwiched in there, and then got wet, and it rotted the aluminum out in about 2 years.
Well, because, you know, Burning Man and the sun's trying to kill you, and the dust. And everything's trying to kill you out there, right? That's why there's no life on the playa. Have you ever noticed? No ants, no nothing, right?
Oh, we expect it to be clear and not blowing wind and sand in your face, and it's like...
It's not gonna be easy.
Registration, make sure it's smogged before you start cutting it up. Once you get a car that has a horse on top, you can't bring it into a smog shop. It won't fit. If someone says, oh, I've got a car that's been sitting in my backyard, you can have it. Let them keep it. You're putting several $1,000s into a car that's got a dead battery and a starter that's no good.
Because it's gonna break. It's gonna break, period.
Something else will break this year, I'm sure of it. It's just a given.
Keep a good head about yourself and keep it going.
And then you learn, and then you make it better next year.
So the advice is to don't do a junker.
My suggestion is keep it small enough like a golf cart. We only have to get 2 of your friends maybe together to go out because it takes forever to get everybody to go out.
Having the money to get the materials and having the time to do it is quite a balance.
It was done on such a budget. I used chicken wire over 1/2-inch square tubing and 1/8-inch strapping to grid it. And then we used bed sheets with latex paint.
This was it. All the wiring and coming up with the ideas, learning how to use all these different tools. I mean, this is the result of why I learned how to weld.
I learned to weld for the project. This is my first time messing around with hydraulics. You know, you can do the bulk majority of the work and it looks great, and small little part will, stop you dead in the water. I think that's why it takes a couple years to dial in some of these art cars.
The fin. Every year there's a fin messing with it, the casters, the hinge point, rigidity of the fin and the wind and everything. We finally got that ironed out. Through the years, we've had a transmission year and a carburetor year. I have 3 carburetors for the Shark. The one that's on there, they have 2 of them on deck. You just overcome this stuff after a while. You figure out what your weak points are, and then you try to keep rolling with the least amount of work, They just worn the brake drum out. But now I have 2 extra brake drums that are brand new, and so I'm ready. Let it happen. Takes a jack and a star wrench, and you're back in the saddle in no time, right?
Gradual improvements year by year, and just keeping the ponies happy.
Saturday and Sunday nights, our first 2 nights open, there's usually a line of vehicles about a quarter-mile long coming in for inspection. Every year I will go and walk that line, and I talk to the Mutant Vehicle owners. In one spot, I can see just thousands of hours of creativity. If you look at all of the different types of Mutant Vehicles, all of the craftsmanship and the creativity, I've been doing this 21 years, and every year I get out here, I look at that line, and I get a little teary because it really is neat. It's really fun.
What's it like to drive a mutant vehicle?
We'll walk over here and I'll give you a demonstration. Hey man, can you stop over at the first camp? I left my water bottle there. What? Can you go over where my camp is? I want to see if my girlfriend can come with it. I can't ride with you. I can only go. Can you take me to the trash fence? Oh wait, can we stop? Let's go to the porta potties. You got room for my bike? You got anything to drink? How long did this take you to make? Why did you make it? Who are you? Why are you driving this car? Who do you think you are?
That's the worst of it.
The only thing I gotta say is I'm constantly screaming, I'm not goddamn Santa Claus. That's not Santa Claus's sleigh. Those aren't f***ing reindeer.
Sometimes people just come up, people tell me stories about it that I didn't know.
The experiences we've had out here too with it are priceless and they keep it going.
So pay attention when you get on an art car as to who owns it and what they've gone through.
This thing's iconic. It's got to roll. It's going to just keep coming back year after year after year.
All my cars have been a collaboration. When I collaborate, I never take ownership.
I just take care of the car now, you know, and just keep it going. It was for Burning Man. It was like meant for Burning Man. It always will be.
That's incredible. Just people who remember it from 10 years ago, kids, adults. It's fantastic.
Oh my gosh, such a great response. It's so much better than I ever dreamt.
It's a love-hate thing, of course, like always, you know. It could be stressful. It can be the funnest thing you've ever experienced, for sure.
This is a child we never had. This is our adopted narwhal child.
Owning a large art car at Burning Man was the most special gift I could have ever given myself and everybody that drove on the bus.
It's an addictive thing to be of service and to get so much feedback.
And as we're driving around, everybody's coming out and waving their hands, and it's just awesome.
Yeah.
You don't do it for yourself, you do it for everybody else.
The main thing was meeting an amazing amount of people that are just awesome every single day. I have so many amazing friends from building the Purple Palace, and my life has changed for the better in every way. You know, it's just the best.
Yeah, it's been pretty magical, you know.
So if you're going to do an art car, get ready.
Never before had outsiders beheld such sights.
It's taken years to produce the deformity.
I can't figure. It's just like something grabbed the pickup and threw it 30 feet off the road.
You'll see it, Joe. You'll wish you hadn't.
Beware the mutants of Black Rock. Twisted metal and rusted, dusty wreckage. Emerging from the Black Rock Desert. You can't see it in the darkness or hear it in the silence, but you can feel its presence. Remember the mutants of Black Rock City. They will be waiting for you.
That was great. Everybody enjoy that? Whew.
That was awesome.
Really good. That was really fun.
That was a lot of fun.
So come on up, and if I could get you get Terry, Noelle, or maybe Chef Juke in that order here. Just come right up to the edge of the stage. Perfect.
Justin, we need JK.
I think you mean Noelle's
JK.
not here.
Oh, Noelle's doing. I'm sorry, JK.
Yeah.
JK is the man.
We had a last minute change from my notes. Sorry about that, JK. Even better.
I'm gonna step back. JK, get up there. I'm gonna step back.
No. Come on forward.
Yeah,
We'll talk
everyone
to
should
everybody. Come on,
stand
everybody.
up to the front. Everyone stand up to the
Yeah,
front.
but everybody come to the front of the stage so we can make sure we see you here.
Is this good?
Yeah. Just kind of line up on the front there. Move over to your left a little bit, JK. There you go. Perfect.
There we go.
And yeah, Terry, come on up. Perfect. Everybody's figuring out how to move their avatar on.
I'm not used to this.
You guys doing a great job. So first of all, that was absolutely fabulous. The question that I have, we'll start kind of on the production here, and this is for Terry and for JK, who's edits it. And Terry, you shot a lot of this, I take it, right?
I did. This is JK's puppy. This is really a piece of love from JK. He worked on it very, very hard, and so he has a lot to say about it because he worked his ass off on it.
You bet. Well, JK, we'll start with you. Mutant Vehicles are such an important and just iconic part of the Burning Man experience. It's a silly question to ask, what inspired you, of course, to make this wonderful piece. But I guess the deeper question is, how do you go about making a piece like this when there are so many mutant vehicles to choose from? Where do you kind of start? How do you decide who to focus on? And what was your process like in putting this together?
Oh my gosh, I have so many things I can say about this. So the way this started was because Terry started up Profiles and Dust when about 2011 or so, 2010. Yeah. And I got on about 2012 and have been saving up footage that we've been shooting out there every year since. And of course, we try to do subjects that are all about Burning Man and about the artists. And this was one that was just not even in the works. It was just in the back of our minds for so long. We thought, of course, we got to do art cars. And it just never happened. And eventually I had so much footage of art cars. That's why there's so much archival footage in there that it was like, okay, we had a year where it was a little bit slower. We weren't assigned something by the org to go out and shoot that year. And so we thought, this is our chance. We'll just go out and we'll just shoot art cars and have a whole lot of fun with it. And so the way we got some of the footage was I had a bunch of archives, Profiles and Dust archives. And probably the funnest part was we went out on the street, literally, on the playa, and we just started walking down the streets and looking for art cars, and then coming up with like a small film crew and saying, "Hey, we love your car. Do you want to talk about it? We're making this video." And I don't know how many we did, maybe 6 or so people were available to show their cars right away, and then we went back to a few of them. And that was just super organic. I mean, really, we were just right there on the streets talking to people. And then when they started cutting it together, the org thought it was pretty cool. And then they gave us access to all of their really old archives. And it keeps going. And then when we're working on a newer project of ours, we bumped into Flash and Sid. Mm-hmm. I had actually camped with Sid that year that we were shooting the art cars. And then, Terry was there, and we thought, hey, let's get some follow-up, because these are the guys. And that's how we got multiple scenes with Sid and Flash in there. So it really did span like a few years of shooting.
And just because I don't have a proper bio for you, and I do want to kind of introduce for everybody here and for our folks watching online. So JK, just tell us a little bit about your Burning Man history, experience, and how you got involved with Profiles and Dust. Just a brief background for our folks.
Oh yeah, you bet. I started burning in 2004. Haven't missed a year, and the way I got in touch with Terry was actually through. I think I was going to a regional event, and I bumped into a ranger named Widget. And Burning Man was right. Burning Man was it was such a huge thing, but I didn't know anybody had ever gone. I wanted to go for years, and finally went by myself. Right, and it was so profound. And everybody's heard all the first year Burning Man stories. And for the next couple of years, I wanted to contribute in some way, but I didn't know how. And all I knew is that I was a filmmaker, and I like to edit, and Widget said, well, I know the perfect guy you got to meet, and his name's Terry Pratt, and he shot a whole bunch of stuff, and they got so much content they could use somebody to help edit a lot of stuff. And so that's when I found out that Terry was right there in town. I was right in Burbank, California at the time, and met up with Terry and his wife Noelle, and we just kicked it off since then. Been great friends ever since.
Well, I can say as a filmmaker myself, it's the hardest part of the process is sitting and editing. So it's a yeoman's job, and you've done a wonderful thing here. Terry Pratt, who we mentioned, is right here, also known as Problem Child. Terry founded Profiles in Dust in 2011. I was involved with that early project when you guys started that, and it was a real honor to be a part of that. And it's amazing to see how it's come along over the last 15 years and really developed into really an iconic and important archival tool for the Burning Man community. It's like really about historical preservation at this point, but so artfully done. What began as a generous initiative to create video gifts for artists grew into a body of more than 50 documentaries capturing the art, culture, and evolving spirit of Black Rock City. Terry has been helping preserve playa stories for well over a decade, and we're grateful to continue to he shines his lens on this community. And then I want to introduce Chef Juke, who you will recognize from the video, who runs the DMV. Chef Juke has been a burner since 1994 and is a longtime volunteer at the Department of Mutant Vehicles, the team that helps license, support, and guide these incredible creations on Playa. He also managed Burning Man's internal tech support, working behind the scenes to keep systems running in one of the most challenging environments on Earth. So, Chef Juke, my question to you is, what was it about, of all the different kinds of roles you can play in the city of Black Rock City, what is it that really drew you to wanting to help guide, lead, and manage this cavalcade of concoctions known as the DMV?
Oh boy. Well, first off, I have to correct you. I am a member of the DMV Council, but I'm not the director, and I'm not solely responsible for the DMV. But I have been like one of the Burning Man has a lot of Uber volunteers who show up a lot more, and I've definitely been one of those. I first joined the DMV in 2002, and my first impetus was a good friend of mine from my village, Jules Cody, Ms. Jules, or also known as Grits, was the head of the DMV back then, and I had spent 3 years running our village's communal kitchen, which is part of where my Chef Juke Playa name came from. And the last year was 99. I had really worked my butt off. We fed up to 550 people brunch every day in that kitchen, and I was exhausted. It was kind of my climbing Mount Everest. And took the next year off, and then was really looking for something else that I could plug into. And my friend Jules said, well, I'm running the DMV and I need some more volunteers because more and more art cars are coming. And that's how it started, and it just kind of snowballed from that. The moment that I started looking at these incredible pieces of really varied, movable art, I was absolutely intrigued. Because all of these were, especially in the beginning, these were not projects built by experts. These were people either just decorating their cars because they felt like decorating their cars. And then the ones who were getting a little more involved were people just grabbing friends and saying, hey, let's make something cool and take it out to Burning Man. So the more I saw, the more intrigued I got, and it just stuck. I've been going ever since.
So for folks who aren't too familiar with what it takes to build and bring a mutant vehicle to Black Rock City, there's a lot of hoops that I understand people have to jump through, and kind of a lot of rules and regulations. Can you run down some of the rules and regulations that folks might not think of, like before they get there?
Well, I mean, we try. One of the things that we say in the DMV is we try not to be so bureaucratic that we become like the default world DMV. Most of the rules are reasonably simple and straightforward. I think the most challenging ones, not rules, but our criteria for what we invite. And our criteria came out of, in the first few years, there were just a handful of vehicles. But as more people came to Burning Man and saw mutant vehicles out there, or saw our cars, and then they said, oh, I want to do something like that, pretty soon we started getting more and more vehicles wanting to come. And in negotiating with the BLM started getting concerned about how many vehicles were showing up and driving around. And so we kind of had to set a bar for how mutated a vehicle needed to be, because we didn't want 4,000 vehicles driving around. And we figured out a pretty good level. So for that, the basic thing is it really needs to look like something unique and unusual, and not like a base vehicle, not like a golf cart, not like something you're going to see on the street, and it's not a hot rod show, it's not a custom car show, it's something a little more than that. So we set up the criteria. That's the first step. In terms of rules that people might not be aware of, some mutant vehicles have trailers, and we have some very specific rules about trailers. And part of that comes from there have been some pretty bad accidents related to vehicles with trailers, and people have been hit by trailers. And we worked with the BLM to say, look, if you're bringing something with a trailer, you've really got to make sure that it's got some kind of barrier that keeps somebody from getting in the space between the tow vehicle and the trailer. So that's one of the more particular rules. And in general, like the DMV, we don't do safety inspections, we do mutation inspections, but there are a few safety areas. So if you have flame or fire effects of any sort, or a laser, those do get a safety inspection by a separate crew that is specially trained and knowledgeable in flame effects or lasers. So you can't just come and show up and start shooting off a flame effect if you haven't gone through a more rigorous inspection. But beyond that, most of the other rules are pretty straightforward. We have a 5 mile an hour speed limit. It's hard for a lot of folks to stick to that, but 5 miles an hour is pretty much a brisk walking pace. And so we have to keep reminding people 5 miles an hour. For a lot of vehicles, that's literally your vehicle in idle mode. Some vehicles, it's even slower than that. But generally speaking, what we want to do is make sure that people recognize the responsibility of driving a motor vehicle around an event that has 80,000 people on bicycles and walking, and maybe not completely sober. And
right.
Especially
except for the drivers have to be sober.
Except for the drivers, but I'm saying,
people around them.
People around them. One of the things that a lot of first-time mutant vehicle owners will report back is they didn't realize how much effort and focus it takes to drive their mutant vehicle when it's crowded, when it's Thursday night and everybody's around and bicycles are coming from every direction and it's nighttime, and some people are not very well lit, and some people are not paying attention to where they're going and not noticing that a 40-foot octopus is heading in their direction, and
it can be hard to tell it can be hard to tell what is a piece of sculpture and what is a mutant vehicle, because these things don't look like vehicles. So it's one of my favorite things is somebody said, "Oh, I know where my camp is, or I know where I left my bike. It's over by that giant, by the giant octopus." And somebody goes, "Oh no!"
Right? They left. They went out to the trash,
and it's long gone. That's right.
Yeah.
So this is kind of a question for all of you. Having spent time hanging around guys like Flash and Sid and Mojo, all of whom I have been privileged to get to know over the years. With Mojo being a gentleman who's turned into one of my best friends in the world. I'm just curious from your perspective, what is there a certain type of character, a certain type of burner that kind of tends toward getting into mutant vehicles? Is there a certain constitution required? Is there a common thread? In the default world, we got gearheads, we got motorheads, that kind of thing. But is there a common thread amongst that particular art form that may be different from folks that do installation sculpture or run theme camps or other things like that?
Ooh, I'm waiting for the other guys.
For anybody. Yeah, JK?
Waiting for some Juke on that, but I'd say from my perspective, I was with Lodi Camp, and they were that year, and Sid and them, and they're all gearheads. But definitely what's congruent amongst everybody is they absolutely love giving people rides on art cars. They just can't get enough of it, to where I feel like they've dedicated all their Burning Man years from here forward to bringing that experience to people, and it never gets tiring. We had the 20th year of the Narwhal, we had the 20th year of the Shark art car, and there's no slowing down. People just love to bring that experience to people, especially new burners.
Absolutely. So Terry, I know that your partner Noelle is intimately involved in the Narwhal.
Right.
That is one of the vehicles.
Which makes me intimately involved with the Narwhal.
Yes. Right. So you can speak to this. Particularly when it's something that is this kind of iconic, old school, legacy type of art, of rolling art. What is it like maintaining something like that is, kind of getting long in the horn, as it were, for a Narwhal?
Yeah, we've done several. We'll do a trip probably this summer, this spring or summer, to go and inspect it and fix things. Since we've become characters, I've totally fiberglassed the whole face now, so it'll never fall apart. So it's literally fiberglass from the wheels all the way around. The whole face is fiberglassed. We've repainted it several times. We've redecked it twice, and it held up pretty good. Last year there was very little that had to be done to it. It was looking pretty good. I haven't been out since the winter, so I'm probably going to go out later this month and go check on it. But then JK went in this year and he ran power all around, so there's actually outlets all around, since we now used it more like a stage. We don't move it around the playa much. But yeah, it's actually holding up pretty well. We've redone the windows. They had the really beautiful stained glass windows that were faded, so we went and found a company and we redid the windows in it, and things like that. We're just trying to keep it so it's 24 years old or something like that right now.
Wow.
Okay, yeah.
So go ahead.
No, I was just going to chime in and say something, that one of the things that I've learned over the years, and Terry just really hit on it, is I think most people do not realize the amount of work, the amount of time, effort, and money, and blood, sweat, and tears that go into making and bringing a mutant vehicle out to Burning Man. Even a regular, something that is close to just a golf cart or a regular car with some stuff on it that's enough to bring it out there, doesn't give you any sense of playa dust is one of the most corrosive materials on the face of the planet. And almost every mutant vehicle owner that I know who has brought their vehicle for more than a number of years has spoken to this. And we had a little forum on playa a few years ago that Greg Barron, who you featured with the Monaco, featured in the film, he led. And there's a fellow named Mr. Christopher, who brings a Soul Train mutant vehicle. And he's talking to a large group of people, and he said, hey, if you're thinking about a mutant vehicle, there's one thing you really, really should know. Don't do it, because, man, it's going to take over your life. And the thing is, to some extent, almost all the mutant vehicle owners I know, and that's including me as of last year, there is a piece of that that's really true. If you're going to bring that vehicle, it becomes a significant, ongoing project. It's not just, we bring it to Burning Man, we take it home, we wash it off, and we park it until next year. It's much more than that. Anyway,
so for anybody thinking about building one, maybe think about a giant albatross, because that's kind of what it is. All right. One last question here. In my experience of going to Burning Man since the late 90s, I have just noticed a steady increase in both the number, the complexity, and the scale of mutant vehicles. What is the current or most recent data on how many mutant vehicles were registered, say, in 2025, if you happen to know roughly off the top of your
head? Sure. I don't have the number right in front of me, but I know that. So a little talk about the numbers. We have a limit of the number of vehicles that we invite each year. We invite 800 or no more than 800 vehicles each year.
That's massive. That's a massive amount of vehicles.
Well, but let me tell you, we have a very consistent 23.5% no-show rate. 23.5% on average in the last 12 years. 23.5% of the vehicles we invite don't show up. Now, that part of that is because most people, despite what was said in the movie, most people don't start out with a brand new, like 2025 Prius or some brand new vehicle. And mechanical issues, or if it's a newer vehicle or a new vehicle they're making, they don't get done in time because they're too ambitious. And so because of that, we expect 600 to 650 vehicles on Playa. And that's about the limit of where the BLM feels comfortable with us in terms of the number of vehicles that are showing up. Post-COVID, prior to COVID, we were getting 900 and 8 to 900 vehicle applications each year. Since COVID, we just had a drop. I think there's some folks who their vehicles age out, or they just sort of they fell by the wayside. So we haven't really hit our limit the last few years, and we've had some very significant weather. We had the mud apocalypse, where we found a number of vehicles made it to the Playa, but they never made it to the DMV to get licensed. So we're around 600 vehicles we license each year. And while there has been an increase, we've seen a number of new, like very large vehicles, like the large sound vehicles. The percentage hasn't really changed as much as you might think. But sometimes you notice the big vehicles more. So really, we haven't had an increase. We've had a slight decrease, but we have had a number of the newer vehicles are bigger, flashier, more noticeable.
And I would imagine that, you build a giant mutant vehicle like that, you have to assemble a team, not just to help build it, but to transport it and to operate it on Playa. That's something that you're going to want to bring back year after year. So I wonder what's the ratio of people that retire their mutant vehicles versus new people kind of coming in, or just kind of work itself out?
Well, so far, we're actually looking, we haven't announced it yet, but we're actually looking to have a bit of, a few years ago, Burning Man, the theme camps placement did this whole process, the cultural direction setting process for Burning Man as a whole, because there was a lot of concerns about concierge camps and some other things. We're about to start a 2-year process about that around mutant vehicles, because we really want to get a lot of community input about mutant vehicles and what we invite and how many of what There's some concerns that people in the community have raised about, the big sound cars and other things. And we want to sort of make sure that we're keeping our finger on the pulse of what people want in terms of the mutant vehicles. We get reports of the velvet rope type mutant vehicles where people can't get on, and they seem to be very, private oriented. And, we want to try and figure out what the balance is and where we should be aiming for going forward. For the most part, the vast majority of mutant vehicles are small projects. Over half of them are, I think I mentioned in the movie, over half of them are golf cart size or smaller. And the super large ones are really kind of like in the regular world, the 1%ers. It's really like 20 or 30 out of the, 650 vehicles out on the playa that are the mega vehicle. So pretty much we've seen it mostly be a balance, and sometimes there's people who just take a year off, so they may be there 1 year and not another. But right now we seem to get a reasonable state. Ask me after this year's registration is done. But
sure.
Folks take a break, other folks come in. We have about 20% of the applications each year are brand new vehicles.
There you go.
So
interesting stats.
So
well, thank you. And before we wrap this up, Terry or JK, do you guys have anything else that you wanted to kind of say about what it's like, just in general, for folks that haven't seen any of your work before, what it's like shooting out at Burning Man, and just in general, like what motivates you to go out there, fight the dust, and capture these stories?
Go ahead, Terry.
Well, I'm an observer. That's what I do for a living, as a cameraman, and so I quickly learned at Burning Man that I was having more fun doing what I do than the party scene, and so and I got drawn into it, and you were there when that happened by Tom Lepore, and I found that was a great niche to be able to document and have and then have a little team. We have a little team now, and we're very refined in what we do now. We don't just go and start shooting. We have a plan. We have we're working, actually JK and I are working on a massive, our first feature length documentary that's taken us, 3 years now. It's huge. It's going to be, I'll just let you know, it's called Out of Nothing. It's about the DPW story, the building at Burning Man. It's a huge story, and JK has been working on editing it for a year now.
Wow.
But we really enjoy showing what is capable and what is happening at Burning Man, and it's a scene. The builders and the makers and the doers deserve to be shown. You see plenty of the party scene. You can go to YouTube and hit Burning Man, and bam, you see the parties and the dancing and all that pretty lights and stuff. But I think we're here to show the well-deserved people that are really, really doing stuff and pushing all the buttons. I'm sure JK has something.
Right on. Yeah. Well, certainly going back and seeing really, really old footage of the playa, you realize how important it is to be doing these stories. You know what I mean, Justin? Even with TV-free Burning Man, I remember going out. Heck, I remember going to Burning Man, and there wasn't even video cameras, right? It was just disposable cameras. And then and then gradually we could get better and better resolution, and that continues to change. We continue to challenge ourselves with getting higher resolution and daring what kind of equipment we bring out there, to subject it to the conditions. But indeed. I know that what we're doing now is going to mean a lot more years from now. It means something. That's now, right. People could be like, interested in something, but 20 years from now, it's going to be very valuable to see people and how they've even grown, even the appearances of just regular people, regular burners, how they've grown over the years.
That's right. It really is an act of historical preservation. But you guys do it so artfully and with such great storytelling form. So thanks for doing what you do. So thank you to Terry, thank you to JK, and thank you to Chef Juke for coming and joining us in BurnerSphere for this awesome screening.
Sure.
We are going to go for it.
Can I throw one more thing in here? I just got to tell JK and Terry, I've been involved and interviewed a number of times for, regarding DMV work and Mutant Vehicles, but this little film has been the best representation of Mutant Vehicles that I've seen in 24 years. And I also just want to note that today happens to be my personal vernal equinox, because as of today, last week was my birthday. As of today, this is my halfway point. I have now been participating in Burning Man for half my life. I'm just turned 63. I've been doing it burning for 31 and a half years. And
congratulations!
And I'm pretty excited about it, and still enthused about it. But a biggest part of that has been my interaction with the Mutant Vehicles, and I think you guys represented it really well in this video. And I love the sound effects.
Well,
thank you.
We're happy to celebrate your personal burner equinox here, and we're thrilled you're here to share it with us. So thank you. All right, everybody, we are just about ready, I think, here for our next film. So up next, we're going to head back over to the screens, and we will introduce that film in just a minute. But thank you all. Thank you, guys.
Cool. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Justin.
JK, come out in the desert with me.
Thanks.
Yeah, Doug. Hey.
All right, everyone, time to move on to our next film and our final of today. Up next is Moments, Loose and Knox, Art in Motion, presented by the International Wood Culture Society. This visually stunning documentary explores how large-scale Burning Man art interacts with the elements, light and shadow, day and night, wind and weather. Through its two distinct chapters, Loose and Knox, the film reveals how these installations are not static objects, but living presences, shaped by environment and time. What makes this piece so powerful is the way it captures motion, not just physical movement, but emotional movement. The shift from daylight to darkness, from stillness to illumination, from structure to experience. And after the screening, we'll be thrilled to welcome back filmmakers Mona Wu and Neo Wang for a live Q&A conversation. So what do you say? Let's step into the light and the night. Enjoy the film.
I'm Lady B. I was Burning Man's first art curator. Larry hired me in 1999 to start and run the art grant program, which I did for 10 years. So I went to art school and grad school in art and was completely thinking I would be a gallery artist and have that career. And in the 80s, I moved to New York City. And honestly, I was so horrified by the art world there. very competitive. The artists weren't collaborating particularly. It was all super competitive, and thousands of artists trying desperately to get into a gallery and get a show and get a review. And finally, I stopped. I moved to San Francisco in '92, found Burning Man in '95, and really I was thrilled because the biggest gift of Burning Man to me in terms of the art and really everything else was that it used to be all about me, my work, my show, my gallery. And after I started working with the art of Burning Man, it became about we, which to me is ever so deeply satisfying as opposed to just me.
I think Burning Man art is often outside of the actual art world because a lot of Burning Man artists are not considered artists outside of the art world. Burning Man is a sand pit where you can try new things. We are a safety net for someone who wants to try out something new, who wants to do something bigger than they ever did, who wants to do something more complex, more crazy than they ever did. That doesn't need to be the best art in the world by normal standards, but it is art that we like to see here and that we appreciate here. Not everything that is made here is for a museum, but everything that is made here is for this city, and the city needs it.
There's actually very few people who have art degrees and art history experience and all of that, so people aren't looking at it from that kind of snotty, critical perspective. Oh, is this good enough? And I think people here are, maybe for the first time in their lives, they're put in touch with art that they can climb, they can touch. There's usually no signage, no name of the artist. And they just stumble upon it, and they have a great experience with it. Much of the art here is interactive. And I think for many people, the art situation is you go to the art museum, you don't go within 6 feet of the art, or the guard yells at you, you certainly don't touch the art. Out here, there are none of those rules, and you can climb the art, and it's a completely different experience. It's one thing to stand and just look at a beautiful piece of art. Great, no doubt about it. But then if you can actually go inside of it or climb it or do something that is interactive with the piece, it just gives you a bond and a relationship with the piece that you wouldn't have otherwise.
In German, we have the saying, Kunst kommt von Können. Art comes from can, from the ability to do so. And Arnold Schönberg, who's an Austrian composer, was saying that's not true. Kunst kommt von müssen. Art comes from must. Art comes from this inner need to do art. You're not choosing to do art, you have a need to do so. And I see this out here all the time. We have a lot of artists who somewhere got the inspiration, probably somewhere in the city, and really needed to go forward and build art.
It's open air and the sky is totally white. It's one of those days. We take out our clothes and change them.
doing art at Burning Man is kind of stupid because you're essentially making a prototype. You do something that you have never done before. You're trying out something completely new. And then you're bringing it to the worst place in the world. You're doing it with only a little money, mostly with volunteers. It's not really a great idea to start with. So it is very stressful for everyone. And I think we are very aware that building art out here is hard on everyone and that we need to work together and collaborate in order to make this happen. I think that's the beauty of it, that art here is a collaborative process where a lot of people are involved and support each other to bring something new to everyone else.
Here, nobody hires anyone to work on their crew. Someone decides, they get an idea, well, let's make this. And often they get the idea by coming to Burning Man and seeing the other art, much of which is made by people who have never in their lives made a piece of art. And out here, they have permission to build the thing, have an audience of 80,000 people, which is a rarity. So you come out here, something inspires you, you decide, hey, I could do that. And then you get your friends to join you, and they all learn skills by doing it. And it's just this tremendous sharing experience of we as opposed to me. And I would say to them, watch as many videos as you can, talk to artists who have actually been here, find out how hard it is to, we jokingly call this the Olympics of art, right? Because you have to build the thing when they're often very large scale. It takes a lot of people and effort. Put it up in this very harsh environment and a lot of heat and sun and dust storms. It's very challenging. But people learn and benefit so much from doing this. I was thinking to myself a couple of weeks ago, my God, we have nearly 400 registered art pieces this year. That means that there are 400 groups of people all over the planet who are working and have been working for months together collectively on a piece of art to bring here. How wonderful is that? And that, I think, is unique in the world. Where else does that happen?
I think art is very heavily influenced by the sustainability goal. We are very proactively trying to decrease the amount of carbon emissions. This is the first year where not only the men, but also the temple are completely solar powered, not just during the event, but also pre-event for the build. We are trying to support artists with solar trailers. We have a volunteer group called Pratt, Renewables for Artists, who are also helping artists with solar. We are working proactively in artists reusing different materials. But obviously, we are still burning art. The important thing for me is we are incredibly strict when it comes to burning art. The most important thing for us is that it's intentional. We don't let you burn art just for the sake of it. You cannot burn art just because you don't want to carry it back home. We're having a deep conversation with you about why you want to burn this art, why this is happening, and we don't allow every piece to be burned. And to me, this intentionality means, yes, we will have carbon emissions from burning the art, but if we can be intentional, then we might also be able to be intentional in other situations in our life. I can skip more meat because it's important to me to burn art. I can use my car less because I want to burn a temple. I think what we're trying to do is starting this conversation that we are aware of it because we still want to burn the men and we still want to burn the temple. We are trying to be better in other areas.
Often people will say, oh, Burning Man, it's a music festival. No, we don't hire bands. We don't have stages. It's an art event. And like I've said, where else on planet Earth can someone who's never made a piece of art build a piece of art with a crew, come out here, put it out, and have 80,000 people look at it? Nowhere. So Burning Man will always be about art.
In 1497, an ambitious 22-year-old hiked up to the quarries above the Italian town of Carrara, looking for a perfect block of marble. He searched for months until he found
stage it up.
Hello again, Peter.
Sorry, how do you? You should probably get on there too, since you're.
Yeah. Peter, you coming up and joining us? Wonderful.
Is Mona here?
Excellent. Yes, and Mona and Neo are muted, so if you guys want to unmute yourselves.
Hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Hello there. We've not had the chance to meet. I am just Justin. I will be your host for this evening.
Thank you.
That's perfect. Yeah, right there is great. Perfect.
Hi,
I love your camera. Neo's finding just the right spot for a shot.
I think Peter is muted, no?
Peter is also muted, yes.
Was coughing.
Hi, Peter.
All right. All right, everybody, please welcome back our two filmmakers from Moments, Luce and Knox, Art in Motion. First, we have Mona Wu, producer representing the International Wood Culture Society. Since 2015, IWCS has documented large-scale Burning Man art, exploring the relationship between material, memory, nature, and human collaboration. Mona's work looks at how wood and structure carry cultural meaning and how collective creation becomes a bridge between people and place. And Neo Wang, director of photography, and editor at IWCS. Over the past decade, Neo has captured the fleeting beauty of Burning Man across 6 major films. His cinematography preserves the way art breathes with light, weather, and time, allowing temporary moments in the desert to live on far beyond the playa. And joining us as a special guest is Peter Plotzgummer. Peter, why don't you introduce yourself? I want to make sure that I get your title right at Burning Man and your roles and responsibilities. You saw Peter in the film talking about the art. But Peter, if you could say a few words about yourself.
Sure, I don't think the title's that important. Hi,
Right.
everyone. My name's Peter. I am the Associate Director of Art Management at Burning Man and am working in the art department mainly with large-scale sculptures or the more complex art pieces, and am dealing or working with artists essentially all along their life cycle for us, from when they register, when they come up with their designs, to bringing the art to Burning Man, and then afterwards, whatever happens with the art after the event.
Excellent. Thank you, Peter. We seem to have lost Neo. Doug, do you want to see if we can locate Neo? And in the meantime, we'll just we'll forge ahead.
Yeah.
I do want to. Yeah.
Justin, he just logged out because he couldn't hear anything. I think.
Okay. All right, he'll be joining us. In the meantime, I do just want to point out something kind of fun here in BurnerSphere. So as we were watching Moments, Luce and Knox, Light and Night, we here in BurnerSphere transitioned and are in the process of transitioning from day into night. One of the neat things about BurnerSphere is that we actually enjoy a changing time of day, and the night sky and the environment and the lighting is actually timed to what the time and light and sun does during the week of Burning Man. So at any point in time during the year, you can kind of join what it's like, what the light is like on Playa at that given time of day. So that's kind of a neat thing that we viewed this. We started out in the light, and here we are at the end of the screening, and we're getting into the dark. So rather fortuitous. Mona and Neo, this film is structured in 2 chapters, Loose and Nox. Tell us a little bit about that title, what it means, and what does the duality represent for the both of you creatively and philosophically?
Okay, I'll start first. Hi everyone, I'm Noelle, the director of this film, The Moment. And I would like to explain the title first. The reason I choose Latin looks enough because I want to approach scenes in their most primal state. And I think that Latin is an ancient root language, and it feels like timeless to me. And using the word looks enough, that reflects the raw original state of the light and darkness, instead of using the more modern labels. And then I am deeply fascinated by the theory of Lacanian psychoanalysis, and particularly the concept of the real. And to me, the Black Rock Desert is a unique place where you can get rid of the symbolic order. Then you have the opportunity to encounter the real. It's something that language cannot capture, and it's beyond the representation. And in my years of wandering on the playa, I have experienced that the very feeling where the sense of self just dissolved into the vastness of the environment and time. And that's the philosophical framework behind the chapters Loose and Nox. And over the past decade, I have seen a shift in how I perceive the playa, including isolations and the interaction between people and the isolations, not only between day and night, but also through the severe weather here. I think that in Loose, the sunlight reflects on objects that make things clear and distinguishable. It makes this playa feels like an inviting journey for you to explore and engage with art and environment. Then when Nox comes, everything changes. It may feel familiar, but somehow it becomes slightly dangerous, and you can't navigate yourself like you do in daytime. And those hours or art cars shine their lights like beacons guiding wanderers through the darkness. And at night, I think you feel like you linger in a place that feels like a dream world, as if you are walking through an illusion. And I would like to film those inexpressible moments between the perceivable world of the day and the dreamlike void in the night, and share those ineffable experience with the world.
Excellent. Mona, this is for both of you, but Mona, maybe you can answer this. As a filmmaker myself, with the challenge over many years of trying to capture elements of Burning Man, there's so much that there's too much, that you can't possibly see everything, even as an individual, let alone as a filmmaker, and the process that it takes to get someplace with your gear, to set up, to find the shot, to roll, and all of that. How do you guys approach deciding which pieces you want to shoot, and when, and do you have a sense before you go out to shoot, or do you just kind of follow your bliss and capture what you may on your journey?
I would say in our previous film, we always planned what we are going to film, but this one is a little different, and I think Neil can explain that more in details. And also I would like to point out that actually when we first pitch our idea of moments, there should be 3 chapters, but because of the circumstances, we ended up only having 2 chapters. And yes, Neil has prepared the whole story that he's going to deliver to the audience here.
Yeah.
Okay.
When we talk about Burning Man, as I see that there are so many things. Whether you are a videographer, you are fascinated in photography, there are just too much, and so many you cannot have all. And for this year's experience on shooting on the playa, I would say in 2023, for doing the project of moments, the shooting process is almost like an organic thing. So in the process of shooting those moments on the playa, I think that I want to point out and mention that kind of encounter. That encounter is something I cannot plan or arrange that in advance. So myself and the other videographer, we always wandering on playa looking for some specific target to shoot. But actually, I don't really know what it is until I mentioned before, until the real moment reveal itself and take off its veil in front of me. And at that time, I just can decide, okay, this is something I really like. So I call it the moment. And so I wouldn't say I choose which artwork to cover to shoot, but instead, those artworks and those specific moments choose me. They reveal their true form and presents me at the particular time. And this kind of shooting process or working process might sound like it's out of control, but it is only when I let go of my control, when I put myself in the environment to truly sense the hours in the wild landscape and the passage of time, then I can finally perceive it. I begin to see the moments I might have ignored in my early years. So in this film, I try to obtain these pieces, not as static objects, but as a existence that changed through the passage of time.
Excellent. The interesting thing about art at Burning Man in the daytime and versus the nighttime is it really is like 2 entirely different experiences. Peter, can you talk a little bit about the importance of illumination as an element of sculptural installations on the playa, and how different certain pieces can look in the daytime versus the night? I just know from my own experience, you might see something in the daytime and say, oh, well, that's interesting. I'm not sure what it is, but it's interesting. And then you stumble upon it at night, and it just completely blows your mind with what they're doing with light or motion, and it becomes a completely different piece. How much of a consideration for artists is how it transforms at night versus how it appears in the daytime?
It's a good question. It actually has to be quite a big consideration because it's one of the distinct features of Burning Man compared to pretty much any other art place. At Burning Man, your art can be visited 24/7 for a whole week, and you'll have everything. You have very dark moments, you have very bright moments, and a lot of artists are not used to that. It's funnily, especially the more experienced ones. If you are not an experienced artist and you come to this as a burner, the way Lady B described, you're getting inspired, you come out there, then you are very much aware that the environment consistently changes. When you're a professional artist, you're used to having your sculpture or your art piece up in a museum or in a gallery, and it always has the same lighting. And you won't have that at Burning Man. Everyone's coming from all sides, and some shots are certainly better, and some views are certainly better. So it's always a big discussion that we're having with artists. At the end of the day, they can choose, and a lot. To be honest, a lot of the decisions are also based on the financial possibilities or not. Like we're having more and more LEDs. We have much less fire. One of the reasons is it's more complicated, but it's also more expensive because you need to have all the propane and all the materials. Additionally, you probably go with a smaller amount of lights if you have a solar setup instead of a generator. So there's a lot of technical aspects and a lot of financial aspects that will actually change how the illumination looks like and how the piece at the end looks like.
Excellent. I'm curious, when you guys were out there shooting, were there any unexpected environmental conditions that sort of changed the way you approached what you were doing, or got in the way, or even enhanced perhaps what you were shooting?
Okay, I'll go first. I remember that the burn in 2023 is unforgettable personally. And out of the 6 times I filmed on the playa, it was the first time I met such heavy, persistent rain, and the weather completely redefined the direction of the film. Originally, I planned for a 3-chapter structure, as Mona mentioned. We would like to do Luz, Lux, and Ignite. The last one means the burning of the artworks. I had suggested Mona that we also need to include at least 2 formal interviews in our proposal over the topic of Burning Man arts as a backup plan, just in case my this kind of experimental filming idea didn't work as I thought. But eventually, I didn't expect that we would actually to rely on them, and I appreciate Lady B and Peter. They addressed so much about the artwork for our film. So back to 2023. I remember when the rain hit, the playa turned into sticky mudland. Vehicles and bikes were useless, and walking to the playa was nearly impossible. And due to safety concerns, I think the burning schedule, including the man and the temple, was delayed or cancelled, and no one knew when or even whether other burns would happen. And that's the time I realized I might lost 30% of the shooting time, and more importantly, I lost the chance to complete the Ignite chapter. So the film you see today, structured in 2 chapters with integrated interviews, was the direct consequence of those conditions. We had to adapt to set this project, but despite of the struggle, there was beautiful, unexpected outcome. The footage of artwork standing in the mud were real and raw. I show these scenes because they reveal a side of Burning Man that few people ever see. It wasn't what I planned, but it became a more authentic record of what actually happened. And I think this whole process of chaos and adaptation is just such a Burning Man thing.
Neo, you mentioned an intended third chapter. Can you describe what that intended third chapter was to be?
Okay. The third chapter would be ignite, which means lit on or fire. In this chapter, I want to also use the same method to approach those themes about those burns at night. I could not describe the specific scene or the specific moment to be in the film, but in my imagination, I want to capture those moments, like the atmosphere feels like you are standing in front of the flame and feel the heat and those crowds shout out, or the total silence it presents, and also the embers, the small sparks, the color of the fire, and those things emerge in my mind. But it's just like a hint. If I would have the chance in my previous plan, I would go to every burn and stand there with my camera, but just feel first, then try to understand what was going on at this place, at this moment. Those informations tells me something that is beyond my imagination, and I would like to turn that into the footage, to the film. That was my original plan.
Well, the shots are all so beautiful, and there's really much. There really is very much a sense of movement and impermanence that you guys explore in this. I'm curious, Mona, what sort of drew you to that rather than just simple physical forms of the sculptures, but really kind of focusing on that sense of movement and transition?
Okay, so before I answer this question, I want to share our experience on the playa. So, please. Justin, I'm sure you understand, when you go to Burning Man with a filmmaking mission, the experience is very different because time becomes your biggest challenge. There's no phone signal or email to arrange interviews, and something happened, you wouldn't have so many things happen outside of your plans. So most of the time when we encounter an artwork, we are thinking like filmmakers, whether it fits into the film or how to find the artist or how to capture the moment before we have to move on. We are usually heading somewhere with a very clear purpose. But we also have a small ritual, like on the last day of our journey, we will wake up before dawn, no matter how late we work the day before, and we will go out onto the playa with no cameras and no schedule. And usually it's after the man and the temple burn, so the energy is also very calm on the playa. We will ride our bikes in silence and experience the art with our own eyes, not through a camera. Sometimes stopping to interact with an artwork or talk to strangers along the way. And I didn't realize how important that time was until we made moments. In those few hours, I was truly present, not filming, not planning, just moving through the space and letting the artwork speak to me. And what I hope audience can feel through the film is a little bit of that experience, that art at Burning Man is not just something you look at it, it's something you move through, interact with, and feel. And the meaning isn't only in the object, it's in what happens around it, how people approach it and change because of it. And that's why after filming Burning Man for several years, we choose to focus on movement and impermanence, something essential but hard to describe. I don't think we could have made this film without those earlier years of learning and truly understand the event. And I would say this is also part of wood culture. Wood is not just a material, it's a medium that brings people together to create shared moments. And even if the artwork disappears, the experience can stay with us much longer. And in many ways, that's how culture continues to live on.
Beautiful. You know, Peter, when you are able to sort of sit back and take in a series of sculptures like this in its cinematic form, how important is that in communicating to a wider audience, and even to people who are present at Burning Man? You can't necessarily, you won't see all of these, and you won't necessarily have these views, and there's so much else going on. The dedication that these filmmakers show in dedicating so much of their time, except for their last day, to actually have some experiences of their own. That's the gift that they give. But how important is it to have this kind of this artifact and this archive of what the experience is like in a very pure, simple, clean, clear form, so that the rest of the world can see what goes on out here artistically?
It's incredibly important, not just for my work, but also personally. Like when I'm out there, it's very similar to what Mona and Neo said. Like, they're going out with a camera, and when anyone from the art department goes out, we're going out with the eye for safety issues, for anchoring, for how the interactivity works whatsoever. I have a really hard time appreciating art out there. I'm just consistently asking myself, is this weld good? Does the screw look right? It kind of screws up my own experience, and seeing it through the eyes of a filmmaker afterwards is so beautiful. Like, just kind of realizing how amazing all these artworks were, that you're sometimes just too close to enjoy properly. I think it's the same for artists. I think a lot of the artists see the artwork the way they always wanted it to see the first time when they're back home and they look at one of these films. And Mona and Neo did an amazing job creating something that just makes you fall in love with all the art that's there. I think the only bad thing that they did was putting me in this video. Like, that was really not necessary to make this better. These slow moments, like, a lot of us don't have this time to be out there and just enjoy that, and that's great. And from a point of view of the work of Burning Man, I mean, this is how we can tell our stories, and how we can tell how gorgeous it can be out there. I mean, I was saying that it's really stupid to bring art to Burning Man, because you have to build something hard and then you bring it to a horrible place, and it's true. But at the same time, that place is so beautiful, and being able to enjoy it out there and being able to enjoy it with the community is the reason why we're all going out there.
And there's certainly no more receptive audience for art than the thousands of people that make the trip out there. The gratitude and the passion that they have for the effort that everybody puts in is really amazing. We are right at 7 o'clock, but I do want to open up if anybody in our audience has any questions for Mona or Neo or Peter. If anybody does, raise your hand, or just go ahead and shout it out if you don't have access to hands. And if not, that's okay too. Well, I want to say that thank you to Mona and Neo and Peter. Just a beautiful film. What a powerful way to close out the evening. Thank you all for being here, for participating, for asking questions, and folks will be around for a little while after, for showing up inside BurnerSphere. This space only comes alive because of all of you. And a big thank you to everyone watching on Zoom and on YouTube. We feel your presence here, and we're grateful that you're part of this experience. Huge appreciation to Carlos Austin for running our YouTube stream and handling all the camera work behind the scenes and capturing all of this. It is the burden of the filmmaker that the folks behind the scenes here share as well. When we get to kick back and watch the films, they're hard at work, so we can all relate. And thank you to Laura for holding it down on Zoom. Deep gratitude to our campmates. Your camp dues make this platform, these screenings, and these conversations possible for everyone else. You're the reason we can keep this festival open and accessible to the entire community for free. And we will see you all tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific for the final day of the BurnerSphere Film Festival. Tomorrow evening, after our final screening and Q&A, we will Dances with Goats returns for another booty shaking set to close us out in true playa style. And then, of course, you can connect, rest, and we'll see you back in the digital dust, and maybe head off on some journeys here in BurnerSphere and go see some of the recreations that the BurnerSphere team has made here in BurnerSphere of some of the incredible art that you've seen in some of these wonderful films. So thank you all. Have a wonderful evening, and we will see you back here tomorrow at 10.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was awesome.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow.
Don't forget to turn your clocks forward.